Guys are all doing well. So recently I've been testing out a whole bunch of budget-oriented drones. Now, this one that you're looking at is known as the KF-102. It retails for under $130. You can find it at AliExpress, Banggood, things like that. And based on the advertising claims, it seems a little bit too good to be true. You have a 4K mechanically stabilized camera, 360-degree obstacle avoidance system that comes with a separate attachment, as well as a GPS with return to home functionality, and even a battery life of 22 minutes. The design is very similar to the DJI Mavic Mini with collapsible prop arms, making it a foldable portable drone. The controller supplied is pretty much a direct clone of many controllers that you find from DJI, except you do have to power it with 3 AA batteries. Since there's no built-in battery inside, you do, however, have an attachment for your smartphone at the bottom, which doesn't retract all the way, so most smartphones are actually quite hard to fit inside. And when you do get it somewhat fit inside, you'll notice that the Wi-Fi live feed using the app is limited to around 600 meters since you're using 5G Wi-Fi connection. Now, based on my experience thus far using this drone for the past several weeks, I do have to report that in pretty much every single circumstance and every single point that it makes from an advertising perspective is absolutely false. Its biggest downside is the fact that it's unflyable. It will not maintain a stable hover. I made sure I properly did a compass calibration. All the prop arms and props themselves are properly set up and retracted. And in some circumstances, it does like to maintain somewhat of a stable hover, but eventually when you start rotating it or doing any kind of maneuvers, it'll drift off and crash eventually. I made sure that I have good GPS signal lock and everything like that. I've used many drones in the past and have a decent amount of experience in flying these quadcopters for the past several years, and I do have to claim that based on my experience thus far, this product is more of a scam than anything else. First, when it comes to the 4K camera footage, it's if you read the fine print, you'll notice that it's actually a 4K stills camera and a 1080p video camera. So that's important to note. The mechanically stabilized gimbal is not very smooth or stable. You'll always find the prop arms in shot, and it's a fairly distorted lens as well. The overall video quality is very similar to a potato camera, so it's not very good in that department. The battery life is not that great. I experienced anything between 5 to 10 minutes. And that was, of course, before the big fatal crash that eventually killed the drone. Now, again, my experience with flying this thing was super sketchy. In most cases, it didn't land properly. And I had a series of minor crashes before the big one where it was just up in the air, maybe about 100 meters up. And I was only about 200 meters away from the drone. It eventually had a mind of its own, like it always does. And landed on one of its prop arms, snapped the prop arm right off. And the plastic itself is very brittle and not very durable. So this is kind of a common crash scenario that's going to happen, I would imagine, to a lot of people using this thing. Now, it is possible that I have a bad version of the drone, but I did encounter many people using this thing to have a very kind of sketchy flight experience. And in most cases, I don't think this is very safe for any users out there. Furthermore, as we mentioned earlier, there is a obstacle avoidance attachment that's very clunky. It's basically just a separate camera that's supposedly going to give you 360-degree coverage, but in actual fact, it makes the drone even worse, and it throws off the center of mass, or the CG, making the aircraft even more unstable and more prone to crashing, ironically enough. Now, again, I could have had a bad version of this drone, but I do have to preface that I did independently buy this fully by myself. It was not sent to me for a free sample or anything like that. This video is not sponsored by anybody, and I probably got scammed out of my money, and most likely if I try to contact them, they're probably not going to reply, which has been the case thus far. But lesson learned, as we all know before, if it seems a little bit too good to be true for the price, it probably is. But my hopes are still up for finding a relatively affordable drone, hopefully around the $200 mark, that offers some decent usability factors. So we're still in that hunt for that. We have a couple of different stuff coming in, so definitely make sure you're subscribed to the channel, you have post notifications turned on, and you like this content. Big thank you to you guys for all your support, and if you have any specific questions, let me know in the comment section down below. In the meantime, thanks again for watching. We'll see you real soon in the next one. Take care.